questions now surrounding PlayStation and moving away from a hardware-centric model. It's a little strange to hear a hardware company say they're moving away from a hardware-centric model.
But what I find funny is that when Microsoft was putting games on PlayStation 5, you guys have told us specifically that they're abandoning hardware just for Cerebon to tell you that we're strengthening our partnership with AMD. Oh, it's not a console, it's an Xbox PC. Okay, here we go with these excuses. Because the same thing would also apply to Sony with the PS5. It's nothing but an AMD box with a PlayStation 5 logo on it. But yet you guys want to call that a console. Oh, Sony's continuing hardware, even though they're putting their games potentially on Xbox. I mean, come on, man. At this point, according to your own logic, PlayStation is dead. Because that's what you guys told us. Oh, look at Microsoft. They're putting games on their competitor. They're leaving the hardware market. Regardless if they decide to make a PC to help benefit their business, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. At the end of the day, it's hardware that Microsoft is involved with, regardless if it's a PC or a console. I mean, come on, man. You ponies got to get it together. And what's even more laughable, he's even in his own comment section saying that Sony will never do it. Sony will never put none of their horrific PlayStation exclusives on the Xbox, even though Sony themselves has told you that they will.
Context, I think, is actually very helpful here in seeing what exactly Sony's senior vice president said, but also remembering we are reading crude translations on Twitter.
So here we go, bro. See, I'm telling you, man, you PlayStation fanboys are going out down bad. And what's even more worse about it is that you've seen Xbox gamers go through the same thing. You're seeing the same thing that happened to them that's also happening to y'all. And yet we're still talking about this garbage. Like, you guys should know better, considering your situation, especially after you clowned on these Xbox dudes for years about this.
Exactly was said. And again, we are relying on a translation. The person on Twitter even said they're the ones that translated this. We don't have official transcripts from Sony yet. Those usually come out a couple of days later. And they have had to often he elaborates on what he means. So if you just read that sentence, it might be pretty alarming. Like, oh, wow, this is a hardware company basically saying we're moving away from hardware. The additional context is very helpful. He goes on to say this in the tweet thread, quote, he says overall, Sony are making a shift to, quote, creation as a company, as the three segments of games, music, and pictures make up 60% of Sony's total revenue. For example.
Now, we know what he just said, bro, but look at it. They won't. Rhetorical question. What do you think will happen if Sony brings all their first-party games to Xbox? They won't. You hear that? You hear that, guys? So when it does decide to happen, when we start seeing Spider-Man swinging to a console near you, right? Because they don't even care for games come to Switch. I think they do, but for some reason, they just have a pure hatred towards Microsoft. They really don't want it on Xbox because they've been clowning that platform for so long. So we can clearly see by that comment that you left that you're still into this console war garbage, even after everything that's been going on.
They are transitioning to entertainment creation to expand and to improve stability and profitability. So you can see there the context is so important. When he says they're shifting to platform business, increasing, like that's what they want to do, he's talking about using Bandai Namco, creating new entertainment.
No, he means by expanding on other platforms. What are you talking? You hear this, fool? I can't believe you sat there and like, what? Hold on, let's hear this again.
Context is so important. When he says they're shifting to platform business,
which means other platforms,
increasing, like that's what they want to do.
Because how is it going to increase on the same platform? Then Sony would have never even came up with these statements. They've already been doing that. The things that you people are complaining about are things that Sony has already been doing, but unfortunately, nothing's actually been expanding, and they haven't really been getting huge profits on it.
He's talking about using Bandai Namco, creating new entertainment, creating IP. He's speaking to expanding the platform of what they have within the media, what they have within...
But they could have already done that. You wouldn't need a job listing to do that. You wouldn't need to come out and tell people that we're putting... Bro, they even tell you that it's coming to Epic Game Store, Nintendo Steam, Nintendo Switch 2, and Xbox. I mean, we already know. What do you mean entertainment? They're going to put movies on Switch 2? You can't even download movies on that platform. Bro, come on, man. That's only a gaming device, bro. And they put Xbox and Nintendo Switch 2 right up beside each other. Come on, man.
the IP. He's not speaking about like an ecosystem shift. Keep in mind, 40-something days ago, both Herman Hulst and Nishino said that the gaming strategy is not changing. I don't think the senior vice president of Sony, keep that in mind, this is not somebody at PlayStation, this is Sony corporate, is saying, well, we're shifting to expanding the platform, and he gives evidence of how they're doing that. Here's more from the tweet thread. Quote, for further context, the question that was asked from the media was that Sony are aggressively investing in IP content creation, such as investing in Bandai Namco. How do they evaluate
what? Bro, what do you mean? Unless Namco owns Nintendo, then you don't know what you're talking about, bro. What are you looking at, bro? Like this, man, bro, I'm telling you, man. See, this is the problem with the gaming community, man. It's the fact that you are still out here shilling. Why are you doing this, man? You got all the proof right in front of you, and you want to still act oblivious to it.
I think what he's saying is, we don't care about hardware anymore. We're just going to start publishing our games everywhere. That's how it's being interpreted by many people. And he doesn't elaborate and say that. In fact, when he elaborates and speaks to what platform means in his mind and in this context, has nothing to do with, well, the hardware is not really important and we're going to start putting our games everywhere. And the reason that we know this is they just posted a bunch of great results. Everything's up. Everything looks fantastic.
It doesn't matter, bro. What about the other one when it says we're putting stuff on Epic Games, Steam, which they have been doing, Xbox, and Nintendo? What are you talking, bro? What reality are you living in, man? Bro, like, I'm sorry, man. At this point, man, I can see as to why everybody continue to call you out, bro. You might, man, honestly, you're probably worse than Porter Rock, bro. Like, this is crazy, bro. You really going out bad, man. Your coffee ain't making you enough money. You know, you tell people they harassing you because, you know, they sit there and tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. But, bro, you're doing all this to yourself, bro.
Fantastic. And it's all because of how they've been handling their gaming division. I don't think you would jettison all of that and harm all of that by being like, yeah, we don't care about hardware anymore. We're just going to start publishing games. There was also no indication in any other section.
Microsoft said they were just going to publish games on PlayStation, but they never told people that they were abandoning hardware. Even if you say it's an Xbox, PC, or whatever you guys want to call it, it's still hardware that Microsoft is endorsing and working with, which is hardware. PC is hardware too. You do understand that. It doesn't matter just, oh, it's a PC. It doesn't matter. Microsoft's involved in working with it. What are you talking about? That's like saying, oh, PlayStation, that's not a PS5 because it's an AMD box because they're the ones that manufactured it. That's what I was trying to tell you guys. You guys are out here fighting over labels.
Where budgets.
It's stupid.
If, in fact, that's what he meant, if he meant they're shifting away from the hardware, they're going to just start shifting to putting their games everywhere, there'd be evidence in the budgets. You'd be reshaping and reforming your studios around parallel development. You'd be hiring for it. You'd be increasing your budgets.
Really? Because they were. They had it. Where have you been? What are you talking, bro? You know what?
There'd be evidence in the budgets. You'd be reshaping and reforming your studios around parallel development. You'd be hiring for it.
They were. Didn't you see the job listing, buddy?
You'd be increasing your budgets. You'd be talking about timelines getting elongated. But with their plans to treat IP differently.
This is what happens when gamers just don't play games and they want to be financial advisors for these companies. I mean, we even got people telling Jay Barr, if people like you, if you was running the company, PlayStation, bro, if Jay Barr ran the company, the company would be in shambles. Okay? It's so funny that you guys want to sit there and talk about business, but yet y'all don't make millions and billions of dollars, do you? How are you going to sit there and tell a person that has been in business for over 20, 30, or for however long they've been in, how they should run a business when you people don't even have one? Oh, but I got my own business. It's called Reforge Gaming Roast Coffee. When the only thing that's getting roasted is you, buddy. Like, I mean, come on, man. I mean, you need to probably put that as a motto, you know? Reforge Gaming Coffee, where the roast gets roasted.
And media differently. There's another reason why he mentioned Crunchyroll. They're definitely invested in that as well with TV shows like The Last of Us, God of War, Ghost.
Yeah, that's so funny that you're listing things in TV shows. So you're trying to say that PlayStation has more TV shows than video games?
Tsushima, Horizon, movies and TV shows are another thing they're investing in.
But what about games?
Extending the platform that they have. They're taking their IP and seeing it as a platform that's worthy of expansion.
So why would that only be solely exclusive, should I say, to the movies and not everything else that Sony's doing? That makes no sense. I could watch The Last of Us, what is it? You can watch these on other platforms, bro. You could already do that. Matter of fact, I was playing Xbox and it showed The Last of Us TV episode. Like, it was weird. It was like sponsored or something. So that's not it, because that's something that Sony has already done, right?
Now, obviously, this is related to porting games to PC. Shuhei Yoshida said that's like printing money, and they are taking...
Yeah, and they're going to be printing more money on Xbox and Nintendo.
...to Xbox, and there's been speculation and even word from insiders that more is coming, but the speculation from that same person was that it'll likely just be live service games or smaller spin-offs. Now, they've already said this before as well, that they're shifting focus to MA.
So if it's not live service, so if the next game is not live service and subscription, are you going to sit there and apologize to people and say you was wrong, or you're going to find another way to change the narrative? We already know which answer you're going to go with.
You away from hardware. They do this about halfway through the gen, because there's actual comments right now of them saying that from 2017. So in 2017, they said this. They said the business model used to be B2B. Actually, let me start over. The business model used to be a B2B royalty. That was like the last 3 years.
But I like how people keep bringing up things from 2017 or 15. But how does that correlate now? Things change. Maybe at a time when Sony was doing good around that point, because I think they were, and their games, their exclusive games, were on the forefront. But ever since those free-to-play games came out, that changed everything. If you notice, Microsoft started doing Game Pass, right? Y'all like, oh, snap, games. I see what you're talking about. Microsoft only did that because of free-to-plays. Free-to-plays actually is what's destroyed these consoles. Y'all don't want to believe it, but that is true. Not Sony, not Microsoft, not Nintendo. Free-to-plays. Because these were games that people can play on these platforms that don't have to pay Sony or Microsoft anything. That is what killed the market. Microsoft can't push a subscription service to pay for online on games that the vast majority of their audience don't play. And then you got games like Fortnite, which is like, oh, it's free to play and you just buy stuff in the in-game store. That, if you notice, and you're like, oh, snack games. And those exclusive games that you had that was out, they were back in what, 2017, 18. You know, Fortnite was just getting its rise. Y'all remember, right? But as soon as it took over, nobody cared about your exclusives no more. You get what I'm saying? That's what shifted the market. It was actually free-to-plays.
They said that we're entering like the last 3 or 4 years now. So it makes perfectly good sense that they would say, yeah, the shift is now to focus on MAU, not to focus on hardware. In other words, they said this 8 years ago. And
I don't care about what they said 8 years ago. I'm looking at as to what I see right now. And Sony is full multi-plat, full third-party, whatever excuse that you want to continue to use, Reforge Gaming. I'm very surprised. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I'm not surprised at all. Like, you're still going down this rabbit hole, man. And I'm telling you, man, you're going to go so far down it that you're never going to be able to come out. I mean, you're willing to put your own integrity of your own YouTube channel in jeopardy because you believe that a corporation that is only there to make money off its consumers cares about you. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, man, apparently his eggshell must be cracking on the side of his head. He must got brain pony fluid dripping off the side of his glasses because, I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. Take care.